Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Jason Marple, and I will be your host today for this Maine Tax Portal webinar. And this is going to be on the commercial forestry excise tax. I am joined by our panelists, Rachel Stetson, Principal Property Appraiser, and also Kelsey Campbell, Property Appraiser, both with the Property Tax Division. The commercial forestry excise tax became available on our new Maine tax portal on October 10th, 2023. This actually marked our third rollout of the Maine tax portal. The portal is now open for individuals in most Maine businesses to file and pay taxes, view notices, and a whole lot more. You can visit this Maine tax portal information page at maine.gov/revenue/portal, and you can learn when you can get started for your specific tax type. I'll go ahead and give that address to you one more time. That's maine.gov/revenue/portal. Before Rachel gets started today, I do have just a few housekeeping items to review with everyone. First, the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. This will not be used for today's session, although you will have many opportunities to ask questions. Attendees can simply type in their questions using the Q&A button, and this is at the bottom of the Zoom screen. Rachel and the panel will answer as many questions as possible. And if for some reason we're unable to address your particular question live, we will follow up via email following the webinar. There may also be some times when you would like Rachel to possibly repeat a step that you have missed, or perhaps you were simply unable to watch the entire session. Therefore, it will be very helpful to know that today's webinar will be fully recorded and can be viewed by anyone who is registered. We'll provide a link, and this will be sent out to all attendees via email next week, where you can actually view this recording. There are no documents or presentation materials that you will need for today's webinar. So feel free to take some notes, but just know that you can always rewatch this webinar. This is a recorded session anytime you would like to review the material. And then finally, we should be reminded there can be unexpected technical challenges, and we just need to remember that Rachel is speaking to you live. Therefore, we certainly appreciate your understanding and do ask for your patience if we should experience any technical difficulties. That does conclude all of our housekeeping items. We do have one last point, is along with Rachel today, we do have a few others behind the scenes. Tabitha and Tyler, they're actually helping us with the demonstration of the Maine tax portal today. So we would like to extend a thank you to them for their assistance. So Rachel, let's go ahead and get us started.
All right, thank you, Jason. Hello, everyone. As Jason said, I'm Rachel. And I'm going to be going over some changes to the CFET structure, as well as doing a demonstration of filing a CFET return on the Maine tax portal. All right, so the customer structure has changed slightly from our old system to better fit into our new system. So what that means for you as someone who files for CFET is that you will now have two identifiers for filing your return. You will have your CFET group ID, which will be shared by all the entities within an ownership group, and a unique CFET account ID for each entity. On December 1st every year, we'll be sending out return letters with ownership information to all account holders. These were generated on December 1st of this year, and they should be coming to you in the mail shortly. We have a letter pulled up here with the return information. You can see the letter ID and the letter date at the top right corner of the letter. And you'll use that to expedite filing on the Maine tax portal. On this first page here, it lists the CFET group number, or the CFET group ID, with all the owners in the group listed below. Now, for most owners, this will only list your name or company name if you're a 100% owner. But in this case, you can see there are two owners listed under the owners, because those are the two owners in this group. All right, when you scroll down to the second page, you can enter your return information. You can see the account ID listed at the top of the page. The entity that the return is for is listed under the property owner information. And if you have previously filed before, the acreage information will be pre-populated with the return information from the year before. If nothing has changed, you can enter the same information on the spaces next to it, or enter the new acreage information. On the next page, we have Schedule A, where you'll need to enter more detailed information and list the ownership percentage of each owner. But an easier way to file can be found on the Maine tax portal. Filing on the Maine tax portal for CFET will open on December 1st annually. So we've navigated here to the Maine tax portal, and we're going to go to the property tax panel. So if we scroll down, it's on the bottom there, and then we're going to select Commercial Forestry Excise Tax Returns. And then we're going to click the File a Commercial Forestry Excise Tax Return link here. On this first step, it gives you instructions and it lists all the information that you will need. So what you will need is your property owner information, including your EIN or SSN. You'll need the total commercial and non-commercial acreage for this ownership group. You'll need your percent ownership for this ownership group and your letter ID, which we just previously showed you. We'll click Next here. And if you need to step away for 15 minutes or more, the web request will time out automatically. So instead, you can use the Save Draft button at the bottom of the screen so you can come back to it later. So that pop-up we just had will show up every time. It's just reminding you that it will time out if you step away. All right, on this step here, we're going to enter the letter ID and the letter date that we saw previously on the top right corner of that return letter we received. You can proceed without the letter ID, but it will not pre-populate any information and it will take you longer to fill out. If you are filing for a new account, you could do that, but we suggest using the letter ID and letter date so that you can expedite your filing. All right, we're going to select Next now. For the ownership information, you'll enter whether or not you own 100% of the acres you're filing for this ownership group. Most filers will select yes, but for the sake of the demonstration, we're going to select no here because we have multiple owners in our ownership group. This will allow us to show some additional steps on the Schedule A. We're going to select yes, we've sold forested land in the past year. This would most importantly pertain to forested acres sold or purchased prior to April 1st that would affect the taxable acreage for this tax year. We're going to select no, we have not sold all acreage prior to April 1. If you did select yes, it would allow you to file with 0 acres. We're going to select yes, that this return is being filed by a paid preparer so that we can show that additional functionality of the return. And we're going to select no, that we're not amending a return. But if you have already filed and you need to make an amendment, you can select yes here, and then can file an amended return until the following March. All right, now we're going to select Next. If any of the owner's contact information has changed, you would select yes here, and the contact information becomes editable. We're going to keep no selected, and then on this step, you'll also need to fill out your federal employer ID or social security number. This is one of the fields that will never pre-populate for security reasons and will need to be entered each time you file to verify the identity of the owner. We're going to select the FEIN, and we're going to enter the number in the next field. On the next step, after we select Next, the forested acreage information needs to be filled out here. This will be a step for owners at any ownership percentage, but there's a little more information needed when there are different ownership percentages, so if you have multiple owners. This step has been pre-populated for us because we use the letter ID. This information will show Maine Revenue Service's records of ownership information, and this information will only pre-populate if Maine Revenue Services has records of the municipality your acreage is in. If that's the case, you'll fill it out. If we don't have that information, excuse me, you would fill it out, and then next year when you file, it will pre-populate. If you previously had multiple accounts at 100% ownership, they've been combined into one account. Similarly, if you own forested acres with another entity, but a different percentage ownership, those have been combined, so all acres with the same owners are in one CFET group. So for example, if you own some acres at 50-50 and some at 25-75, but all with the same entities, you would report those on the same return and each entity would file a return. And if I'm going too fast for anyone, just remember that we do have this recorded, so you can come back to it later. You can edit the fields by selecting the pencil icon or the municipality. When that opens up, you can edit any of the information on there. You will be reporting the ownership percentage of each owner in your ownership group. For those with 100% ownership, you will not need to enter the ownership percentage here. We're going to click on that first owner, that first row, which is reporting acres for Prince and the Poplar with an ownership percentage of 75%. You can see this information is owned by the account holder because the yes is selected on the left side there. We're going to select OK here because we've confirmed that all that information is correct. Now we're going to select the second row. And you can see the no is selected here because this is showing information from another entity in the ownership group. Now that we've verified the information that was entered here, that 25% ownership, we're going to select OK. We had previously selected that we bought or sold forested acreage prior to April 1 for this tax year. And that acreage was 400 acres at a 50-50% ownership with Don't Want No Shrubs. So because Don't Want No Shrubs is in the same ownership group, we're going to select Add a Record here. For this row, we're going to select Yes, this row is for the account holder. And when we select Yes, you can see the account holder's name pre-populated on the owner name field. We're going to select Big Moose Township as the municipality. And then we're going to enter 50% ownership. And then we're going to enter 400 commercial acres. And we're going to leave the non-commercial acres at 0. You can also enter the map and lot information here as well. For the demonstration, we're going to leave it blank. Then we're going to select Add. Now we're going to enter the other entity's ownership information by clicking Add Record again. And we're going to select No, as this is not the account holder. And then we're going to enter the name Don't Want No Shrubs. Then we're going to enter 50% as the ownership percentage. And we're going to enter the municipality as Big Moose Township. Then we're going to enter the 400 commercial acres and leave the non-commercial 0. So the information on here is almost identical as the other row, just listing the other owner and their ownership percentage. All right, then we're going to select Add. Now you can see all the acres owned together by this ownership group in those rows listed. And I'm just going to take a pause here to see if we have any questions in our Q&A. All right, I don't see any questions yet, but feel free, please type in any questions that you have, because now is a great time to ask any clarifying questions. Okay. All right, I'm going to move on, but really feel free to add any questions as we're going along. So now we're going to select next. Here we're going to enter the preparer information. So we'll give their name and the phone number. You can also enter your company name and the company EIN if you'd like. We'll leave that blank for now. And then we're going to select next. Here you'll need to attach documents to verify the ownership information, which could be a deed or transfer tax papers. And that's because we selected that we had bought or sold acreage. You can see the red indicates it's a required step. We're going to enter a note here. Just a little testing note. And this is where you can add any additional information. So this will show up even if you haven't selected that you have sold any acres. So any additional helpful information would be great to make right here. You can also add in the attachment using that add attachment link, but we're going to leave that blank for now. All right, now we're going to select next. On this step, you can verify the acreage information is correct. If you need to go back, you can go back through the steps to make any necessary changes. As you know, there's no tax due at the time of filing, and an assessment will be sent after the tax is assessed in March. We've verified all the information, so we're going to select next. Here's the declaration where you will electronically sign the return by selecting the checkbox and then entering your name twice. All right, before we select submit, I just want to take a moment to pause for any questions. I'll just leave a few seconds here for people to enter any questions that you have. If we need to go back through any steps, just please feel free to type in the questions. All right, I'm not seeing any questions yet. All right, so we've gotten a few questions here. One question is, when will we know we have to file? So the contact information that we had in our previous system was pulled over to our current system. So those returns should come in the mail for you soon. If you're expecting a return and it hasn't come in, you can either email us at the prop.tax@maine.gov email address, or you can call our office as well, which is 624-5600. But each account holder should be receiving that return letter very shortly in the mail. So another question is about what's considered a paid preparer. So if you are a company that manages land for other clients, that would be considered the paid preparer, yes. And so we just want that information so that we know who is actually filing, and then who would be signing that declaration. So those were some great questions. Thanks. Feel free to type any other questions that you have in there. All right. All right, I don't see any more questions, so we're going to select submit here. And then you're going to enter your email address and confirm your email address. And then select OK. Here's your confirmation code, and you can use that in case you'd like to view your submission later. So we definitely recommend keeping that code for your records where this is a non-logged on return. So this is a non-logged on return where you'll be making a payment not logged on as well. One change that is happening is that Maine Revenue Services will no longer be taking credit card payments over the phone, but you will be able to pay online using the information from your assessment letter. So we're going to demonstrate that now, but first we're going to look at the assessment letter so that you can see what to look for when you're making your payment. All right, so here's the assessment letter. And you can see that it has the letter ID and the letter date in the same placement as the return letter that we saw earlier. Each letter ID is a unique identifier for that specific letter, and for you. So both of those are unique to that letter. You're going to use those in a similar way if you want to pay online. So we're going to go back to the Maine tax portal page, and we're going to select the Make a Payment link from the Quick Links panel. Then we're going to select the Make a Bill Payment link. Here you'll need to enter the letter ID and letter date from that assessment. And then we'll select Next. The balance will appear here, and you can enter the amount you're going to pay on the line below. We're going to pay the full amount, so we enter that. I want to note that the instructions above indicating you should log on to your Maine tax portal account does not apply to CFET. The customer structure does not support login access, so you can just ignore that little line. All right, we're going to select Next. On this step, you'll fill out your payment information. Because we're in a testing environment, we have a populate link here for the bank routing number, but in production, that link will not be there. You can see all required fields are indicated, and the requirement goes away when you type in the necessary information. So we entered the bank account number twice, and you can select checking or savings account. We're going to select a checking account. We're going to leave the payment date as today, and we're going to enter the payment amount for confirmation. Then we're going to select Next, and here you'll get a summary of your payment, and then you'll need to select Submit to complete the payment. Here you'll enter your email address twice to send you confirmation, and then you can select OK. And again, you'll get that confirmation code that we recommend keeping for your records. All right, I'm looking and I don't see any more questions. Actually, I did see another question that asked about filing by paper. You can file by paper. We recommend filing on the Maine tax portal because it is a lot easier. Schedule A will not be filled out on the paper form. So it's just easier to file on the Maine tax portal. But it is not required to file on the Maine tax portal. All right, feel free to add any more questions that you have, but that does conclude our demonstration. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you, Tyler and Tabitha, for driving. And thanks, Jason, for hosting. And I'm going to send it back to you.
Thanks so much, Rachel. Great presentation. We would like to invite our audience, if any more questions come up while I'm going over a few things, feel free to ask those in the Q&A area at the bottom of the screen, and we'll address those in a few moments. So while we're waiting for any remaining questions to come in, we're actually going to take just a quick look at our Maine tax portal website. This does contain a lot of helpful information. So right now we're actually at our homepage on the Maine Revenue Services website, which is maine.gov/revenue. So we're actually going to scroll down. There's a section titled Important Updates here. And we're going to look for what says important information about the Maine tax portal. And we're going to go ahead and click on that. And this brings us to the Maine tax portal information page. So lots of good information here. If you wanted to visit directly, you would type in your address bar for your browser, maine.gov/revenue/portal. We do want to point out a couple places you can visit on here. There is a Maine tax portal login. So if you decided you were here and wanted to go straight to the Maine tax portal to file your CFET return, for example, you could click on that Maine tax portal login and it'll bring you right there. We do also have a frequently asked questions button. And clicking into this, we'll actually see there's 4 major categories. And depending on the topic or the question you had, you could click in to open it up and see if your particular question or topic is within there. And you'll see some important information in there. If this wasn't necessarily what you were looking for, and maybe you thought an instructional video would be more helpful, we have that as well. To the right of the frequently asked questions, you'll see instructional videos. These are, for the most part, pretty short and to the point. So if you had a topic, maybe you wanted to learn how to file a specific return, there's going to be file a Maine return. We've also got some for payments if you wanted to do just a payment. So this is another area we just wanted to point out for you that is available. Backing up, we'll actually see that we also have 4 categories relating to our rollouts. So we have completed rollout 3 just recently, with rollout 4 scheduled next October 2024. Hovering over those will actually show you what tax types were released and what is yet still to come for next year, for example. So if you were interested, feel free to take a look. Just hover your mouse right over those. As far as the webinar recordings, we actually have our prior webinars recorded that you can view online by clicking on the webinar recordings. So you can actually see some of those from those prior rollouts if you were so inclined and maybe missed those. We also have, if this wasn't enough information and you still posed a question, you can actually look right under those rollout categories, and we do have some contact information. So we do have a taxpayer assist at maine.gov. So you're welcome to shoot us an email. Just place portal in the subject line and ask your question. If you prefer, you could also give us a call. And the number to the taxpayer assistance is 207-624-9784. So if you have some general questions about the Maine tax portal, you could try us by email or phone number. Now, we also, if you had one specific just for CFET or maybe property tax in general, you could also shoot an email off to prop.tax@maine.gov. So again, that's prop.tax@maine.gov. If you had one specifically about CFET, for example, or you could call them, this number Rachel provided earlier, which is 207-624-5600. So again, there's a lot of helpful information here on this Maine tax portal information page. So if you're not quite sure, you had a question, you could take a look here to see if you could find the answer. So we hope that's helpful. I do see a question had popped up. I'll give Rachel a chance to look over that if she would like to answer that.
Um, so there is a question about a different person filing versus the person paying the tax, and it's asking about logins. So because because of the structure of CFET in this new system, there's no login needed. All of the act activity will be done non-logged in, so that make a payment link can be used by whoever is making the payment. And you will just need that letter ID and the letter date from the assessment that goes out. So we'll need, so that person will need that assessment letter. No problem.
Okay, good question. Good question. Some of our activities in the main tax portal you can do non-logged in. Okay, so feel free if any more questions come up. We'll have another few minutes here. So in closing today, we all hope you thoroughly enjoyed our main tax portal webinar. So I would like to thank Rachel, Tyler, Tabitha, all of our attendees for your time today. And as a reminder, today's webinar has been recorded, and you'll be able to view this. Anyone that's registered can view today's program, even if they missed the whole webinar. And that will be, again, sent out via email. There's going to be a link in that email, and you can view the webinar. So this will go out next week. And if there's any attendees who submitted a question today and we were unable to address it, we'll certainly follow up via email. And don't forget, we do have our contact information on that main tax portal information page to reach out to us. So in that main tax portal, so it's open for individuals. So if you need to file an income tax return, you can do that now. A lot of Maine businesses can now go online and file and pay their taxes, view notices, and a whole lot more. The commercial forestry excise tax that became live in October on the 10th. You can visit the Maine tax portal information page, which we demonstrated. That's at maine.gov/revenue/portal. And you can learn all about your specific tax type. And if you have a specific question about the portal, please reach us, our Maine Revenue Services Contact Center. That's at taxpayerassist@maine.gov, or you can call them at 207-624-9784. Just going to do another quick check for any questions. I think we're all good. Thank you all very much. That does conclude our webinar. We hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.